Hello everyone, this is Paige from Mosaic Moments, and today I am doing a demo of the 3x5 Horizon set. So if you really love working with the Horizon collection, this is the demo for you. And today we're going to be creating a layout just like this one. And as you can see, there's still that classic circle design, but the shapes within it are a little bit different from the original set. All right. Let's get started. I'm going to introduce you to the 3x5 Horizon set. So this set comes with two 3x5 Horizon dies, and also in the center you can see that it comes with two 3x2 Horizon sizes. There's also a couple other ones I'm going to show you in a moment. But first, I just want to talk about how planning your photographs is really important. So you will have these two 3x5 Horizon dies going in different directions, and you want to make sure the subjects within your photographs will fit in that space the way you would like it to be cropped. And of course, the same rule applies to these 2x3 sizes. I made sure my subjects were small enough to fit within that 3x2 space. With the 3x5 dies, you'll especially want to be careful because you see it has that curve in there and it may cut off something you don't want to cut off. So definitely take the time and plan out your photographs. All right, the next two types of dies I'm going to be introducing here real quick is these two I'm holding are 1x2 squares in size, and this is one option you can do to create that circle shape. And there's also four 1x1 inch dies. If you want a little more of a mosaic look to your circle, this is a great option. So the nice thing about the set is you have lots of options and lots of different design ideas. I'm just doing one today, but there are many more you can do, and you can use these with the original Horizon set as well. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to get my layout by cutting with one of the 3x5 Horizon dies. As you can see here, that curved section is on the bottom right of the die. So it is important to plan your layout beforehand so that when you go to cut your paper and photographs, that it's all going in the direction you want. And of course, I just place it in my die machine. This is the Sizzix BigKick, and my sandwich is based on the directions that come with this machine. So definitely look at the manufacturer's instructions if you're not sure what your sandwich needs to be. All right, so I cut this one, and next I'm going to show you again here. I'm going to bring my grid paper back. I need to cut this 2x3 one, and that, if you look on the left here, the wide part is on the top. So you want to pay, again, attention with the 3x2 dies as well as to which way the die is going to cut. So that was pretty easy. I rolled it through the machine, and I just cut enough paper really to get that skinny section. You don't need to get, you can save your paper and not cut an entire piece that's large enough to fit this entire die space. I'm going to do the same thing again here, except that skinny part is on the top this time. And again, you can see I have a piece of paper just large enough to cover that small section. I also want to point out real quick that there are two different 3x2 sizes. So for this side you have to use the two different ones to fill in that circle shape correctly. So again, you definitely want to plan your page beforehand to make sure. So this Horizon die, this 3x5 Horizon die I'm using now, it's actually the second one that comes in the set. And now for this right bottom corner I'm doing, this is the original 3x5 die I used right at the beginning. If that's too confusing, you can ask me some questions in the comments below, but just keep in mind there's two different 3x5 dies because it allows you to get different directions, and there's two different 3x2 dies, again, to help you get the different directions and do different techniques with the Horizon set. So keep that in mind. That's why, again, it's important to plan out your page beforehand. All right, see, I'm using this 3x2 die, and I made sure the wider part was on the top again. Getting close to finishing up these pieces here. Another piece of advice I want to give is to place your dies in at an angle when you're running it through the machine. A lot of people ask why we do this, and we find that it helps distribute the pressure a lot better when you place it in at an angle, and it gives you a better cut versus whenever you put it straight through the machine. All right, I have all my pieces cut. Now we get to place them on the grid paper. All right, the next step is to take your repositionable glue. I'm using the Herma Dotto dispenser, and it's my favorite repositionable glue. And you're going to glue the back of each of these pieces and place it on top of your grid paper. Now, this might be a little bit tricky if you've never used the Horizon dies before, because as you can see here, there's that curved line and you're not covering the full block, because the rest of that grid paper is going to be covered by the photographs I'm going to be cutting a little bit once I get this part done. So it might seem weird at first because you're not covering up the grid paper like you would with the basic dies, right? But basically what you want to do is try to line it up as best you can the top left corner of the part of the grid you want to cover. So I'll show it here again. I'm putting glue on the back of this piece, and then I'm carefully lining it up in that top left corner of this grid paper and making sure it's covering these top lines and the lines on the left side. All right, and then obviously you should still see some portion of the grid. And again, you're going to be covering that up with some photos later on. So this piece, I'm not really going to be able to glue it down because it's really hard to tell where to line it up on the grid. So I'm going to set that aside, and these two as well. But I can line up this last piece. So there are going to be a few pieces where you're going to have to wait for the photos to be cut first. Alright, so hopefully you can see how I lined up these pieces here. I know it's going to be a little bit harder to tell because I'm using the same color as the background, but you can see it's kind of making a circular shape. Alright, the last part of creating my page is cutting the photographs. So I have one of my 3x5 Horizon dies here, and I like to place it over the grid paper to know which die I need and also which direction my photo needs to be cut. So go back and forth if you need to between your photographs that you're going to cut and the grid paper, just to make sure that you are cutting these photographs correctly. You don't want something upside down or sideways in the end. And you don't want to have to reprint your photographs. Okay, so I have this one, and that'll fit in that space perfectly. I'm going to glue that down once I'm done cutting all my photographs. So I'm going to use the same 3x5 die again to cut the portion that goes in that top right corner. And again, you want to plan your photographs beforehand. So this one, I made sure that fountain could fit within that space that's going to be shown on the page. All right, so I'm going to put that die aside, and this is the other 3x5 die that goes in the opposite direction. So this is going to fill that top left corner. You may have noticed I am putting the dies in at an angle again. Again, it helps you get those better cuts even on the photographs. All right, I'm using this for the second time on that bottom right corner. You also may have noticed I do have this black mat here rather than one of the plastic mats. This is the crease pad, and we use it because sometimes when you cut your photographs, you may notice it has an indent around the edges, and the crease pad helps you avoid that. Now I'm going to cut with the 3x2 Horizon die. So in this case, I'm using the one that'll has the correct curve to make that circle shape, and I made sure the skinny part's on the left side and that the wide part is on the top here. And again, you want to plan your photographs to make sure that your subject fits within that space. So I'm rolling it through the machine twice. It gave me a little bit of problems earlier. Let's see. It looks like it did not cut through all the way, unfortunately, so I'm going to use a pair of scissors to cut that out. But I did switch back to the plastic plate here. Again, this is the second 3x2 die from the set, and I made sure that the wide part on that skinny edge there was on the bottom. And I'm going to use this die again on the other side in the opposite direction to the wide parts at the top. So you can see comparison that I just kind of flipped it the other direction. So these last two photographs, the skinny part's going to be on the right side of the photograph. Anyway, I'm going to mention real quick, my die machine's getting old, and I find as they get older, they have less pressure. But one tip I saw, if you're using the crease pad and it's not cutting through your photo all the way, you may want to add in a sheet or two of cardstock to make your sandwich thicker. So just keep in mind, when you get the machines and they're brand new, they actually have a ton of pressure, but I feel over time it gets more loose. So keep that in mind if you're finding that your photos and paper are not cutting through as good as it used to. Last but not least is my favorite part of making the page, and that is putting down your final photographs and getting to see the completed page. So I have my photographs surrounding the page here, so that way I know where they need to go. All right, here I'm using my repositionable glue on the back of the photographs again. By the way, the repositionable glue does become permanent, so you don't need to use permanent glue over this one. It will become permanent within 72 hours from my understanding, but I find it takes a little bit longer than that for it to become fully permanent. So don't worry, if you have a good brand, it should stay on your grid paper for a very long time. All right, just take your time. It can be a little tricky to get it right next to your paper that you cut before. So on this side, if you remember, I needed to put the photo down first. So I put the photo down because that was easier to line it up on the grid paper. And now I can finally place this piece of paper next to it to complete that portion of the block. All right, so now we have like these two half circles here from the 3x5 dies, and I'm gonna fill in the rest of my page with these photos I cut with the 3x2 sizes. So as you can see, and I'm almost done here, this page is going to look really amazing. I love this circle shape. So for these last two, I'm putting the photos down first, and then I can complete it by putting these last two edges down, because remember before I also couldn't put these down because it would be really hard to see where it needs to go on the grid. Okay, I'm having this last one here, and I am finished. Alright, we've reached the end of today's demo. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I'm really hoping there'll be more Horizon die videos because now with the 3x5 set, there are so many different designs we can do. And with the 3x5 set, you can use it on its own like I did today, and you can use it with the original Horizon die set. So many designs can be created with all of this collection. And also what's nice about the 3x5 die is that you get a kind of a larger portion of the photograph in comparison to the original set into this circular shape. So again, so many more options, so much flexibility. This is a really fun one. If you haven't tried out the Horizon dies, go and get them because they are fantastic and very easy to use. Alright, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and I'll see you next time.